Presented by Prize Picks. $100 match on your first deposit with the promo code. Welcome to Light Years. Andy, we got a special guest today.
Yes, sir.
We got our guy. He's on the injured reserve right now.
Yes.
Telling me he's got all the time in the world to podcast. He's like Draymond in off-season form.
Hey, don't mention Draymond. Don't mention, please. Was he in a soccer? Where was he?
He is at the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Where is that?
This year it was in London.
So he's just in London.
It's
Terry Henry just chilling with him. He was like, "Yeah, this is family." He had DJ on the set with him on his lap.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's turning into, they basically ripped off the Super Bowl with all the pageantry, but yeah, it rotates cities is all you need to know.
That does sound pretty good. By the way, just I need your my Achilles has been hurting I haven't been playing basketball the last 3 weeks, so my Achilles is either like KD in 2019, right before he tore it, or it's already torn. So I may be joining you in the operating room soon.
Man, stretch that thing out, bro.
Yeah,
please stretch it out. But even if you stretch it out, honestly, man, if it's going to happen, it usually just happens. It's not one of those things like I didn't stretch. I stretched. I played ball pretty regularly, so it wasn't like, oh man, his body wasn't used to the quick jerky movements anymore. No, it was time to go.
That voice you're hearing is Jason Dumas from Kron 4. So you tore your Achilles. Give us the breakdown of the play. I need to know exactly how it happened.
Yeah, Saturday morning. So about 9 days ago, I don't know when this pod is going to air, but it was on the 25th, May 25th, Saturday morning, Mission Dolores High School. Playing
many times. Oh, so is this? Are you playing the squads pickup?
Yeah, right. I play with them pretty regularly. Good group of guys.
Yeah, okay.
And someone shot a three, and I was out like a wing three, and I was on defense, and I'm out by the top of the key. As soon as he lets the three go, we have big men down in the paint. I'm expecting them to get a rebound, and we're pushing the other way. But it was a long rebound, so it bounced over the bigs closer to the foul line. So it was closest to me. So I had already started running one direction. Once I saw it bounce off the rim the way it did, I start coming back to get the rebound and push the break. I push off my right foot to go corral the ball. The ball's about 2 feet away from me at this point. And I just collapsed. It felt like someone kicked the back of my leg. And as soon as I fell, I turned around thinking the guy who I was guarding was near me and maybe tricked me going to get the ball too. He was nowhere near me. And I realized it was just my Achilles that popped. And everybody knew exactly what it was because it made a little thud that you could kind of hear. Oh. And it was, everyone saw no one was around me. So they all were like, oh yeah, that's bad. That's one of those non-contact. No one was near him. He just collapsed in a heap type of injuries. Didn't even hurt all that bad. It was more a very like weird, awkward sensation in my calf and like Achilles area. And went right to ER around the corner, gave me an X-ray, and they confirmed it. And
X-ray confirmed it, or MRI?
MRI.
X-ray.
So I got an ultrasound. They gave me an ultrasound, and they were able to say, like, look, we ultrasounded both Achilles. They could see one thing in one and the other not in the other. So a couple of days later, I get my MRI, but it just confirmed it. The guy who was looking at the ultrasound, he was like, "Yeah, you tore your Achilles." Like,
okay, so an ultrasound you can get. I'm only doing this because I think I'm gonna go get an ultrasound now. So you're saying an ultrasound does tell you like, if
yeah. He told me my Achilles was ruptured, and then my surgeon told me after surgery, he was like, there was a small phrase on your Achilles which showed like which was consistent with tendonitis in your Achilles. I couldn't feel that, so it was like I had no idea. And he was like, so it was going to blow sooner or later.
No, you can't. There's nothing you could do about it. It's just
no. He was like, sometimes it happens. It's wear and tear. Is where our bodies are built. If you could have stretched all morning, that was probably going to happen.
Damn.
Yeah. So like it happened to KD, Clay. Sometimes it's just like. Yeah, that Achilles, because it's like a fucking rubber band, bro. Like the older a rubber band gets, and sometimes you might be able to keep one for 20 years. The other time is 12.
Mine is going. Yeah. See, this is why I get jealous of people that like don't play sports until they're like in college. You know the type. Like there are people that just like they grow up, they're not sports guys, so they end up playing when they're a little bit older. And I'm always jealous because I've been playing since I was a little kid. My body's cooked. Like I can't. Honestly, I can't even run. But it's like I still play because I just, whatever, right? You still want to play basketball or whatever, any sport.
Spirit.
Yeah, right. I just want to play, but it's like I get jealous. Guy same age as me, but he just run up and down, and I'm just like, man, you never even broke your ankle. You never even tore an ACL. I can't even. They just run around, which is always interesting. But well, are you going to be back? Are you going to play again? Or are you calling it? Because I feel like at some point you just call it. I'm done.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on that for a while because, like you said, sometimes you just want to get out there and play. It's like good therapy almost, really. But then it's like at what cost? Because this has only been like a week, and it's been such a pain in the ass. It's such a pain. Like I said, no physical, no literal pain right now, but it's like everything takes 3 times as long to do. Going to the bathroom, getting ready for bed, showering. It is a process.
This is why you got to pay Clay.
Yeah, exactly. Bring him back.
Yeah.
And they say you're like 50% more likely to tear your other one once you already have one.
Well, maybe don't play Clay then.
Yeah.
I was trying to bring it back to the Warriors.
No, we got a fun topic today. We'll pivot. We'll do a hard pivot here. We'll go a different direction. I feel like we've spent the last month talking about every trade option for a star caliber player.
Yes.
How many? Brandon Ingram, Paul George, Zach LaVine,
yes,
LeBron when he feels like tweeting some weird shit.
Yes,
AD, doesn't matter. Like the whole spectrum. But the other side of it we haven't talked about is everyone's kind of using the Mavericks analogy. They're like, Mavericks didn't make the playoffs last year. Got Kyrie, then traded for a couple good role players. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and look, they're about to be in the finals on Thursday. So my question for you guys is not about who can the Warriors acquire to be that Kyrie-like figure to rejuvenate them as a second star. It's who are the next PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford? Good role players, stuck on horrible teams. Maybe they're not even trying that hard. Like, what's the point of defending if you're on the Charlotte Hornets, right? You're just trying to get shots up. But, like, as we can see, PJ Washington, nice glue guy, nice piece to have on a team. And I think if the Warriors are going to get back into it, they need both. They're going to need to figure out that second star, but they're also going to need to find a couple of vets who just know how to fill roles. So let's start there. Jason, why don't you go first?
I'll start, and we were kind of having a precursor conversation. We had one of the same guys on our list, but Sadiq Bey, he was actually a Warrior for about 30 minutes when they acquired him.
Would have been better off if they kept him.
I mean, they would, just being honest. No disrespect. It was GP2 who they flipped him for, right?
Right.
Yeah. GP2 just hasn't been able to stay healthy. And Sadiq Bey, I mean, he's a good player, and he's like a multi-dimensional player. You can, if he buys into his role, which I think he would on a team like the Warriors, like he's had a couple buy-in issues with some of his former teams, but they're teams that suck. So it's like, why do I have to buy in when I think I'm just as good as this guy or this guy? Like, there's a clear talent gap and hierarchy when you come to the Warriors, and you have a coach like Steve Kerr who has a little bit of clout, and then you have Steph Curry, like, as like the elder statesman, and even Draymond Green, just in terms of just like what they've achieved and how they've won at a high level, it's a little easier to buy in that type of environment. So if he buys in, is a guy who can play defense, who can hit open shots, and not at a high level, obviously, but like at a low level, like against a second unit, create a shot or two. I mean, he does have a 50-point game in his arsenal in the NBA. He's just a good basketball player, good fundamentals, and like he's one of the Nova guys. Those guys usually have good fundamentals, fundamentally sound, however you want to say it. So that's the first guy that comes to mind. I think you put Sadiq Bey on a contending team, and he's coached up and he's in the right environment. He's one of those guys who plays himself into like a huge contract, like PJ Washington is doing right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Only downside on Sadiq Bey. Don't want to ruin this. Maybe you're showing a little kinship here. He's currently on the IL as well. Tore his ACL in March. He should be back, just doing the math, turn of the year, maybe a little longer, maybe all-star break. So he could definitely contribute for a team next year. But maybe that's another reason you get him, because it's a buy low.
Yeah, super
opportunity.
Oh,
And
boy.
he can't be older than 25 at this stage. Yeah, no, he's turning 25 next season. Yeah, I mean, if he buys into the smaller role, what is he? 6'7" wing, 7-foot wingspan, can shoot it, can move his feet a little bit. Like, those aren't easy to find. That's why we have to have the Wiggins conversation every week, because as annoying as he is, you start looking at the options. You're like, it's hard to find a guy who can do the things he can do.
Yeah. And Sadiq Bey would not be the replacement. I hope not. But I see the vision.
The Wiggins thing is more to Wiggins is the price point. It's like,
yeah, sure.
Like, you can't really they're hard to find, but it's like
supposed to be a discount.
Yeah, it's like the price point. It's like, all right, yeah, probably hard to find his skill set, but you could probably find something near it for a third of the price, which probably is a little better.
I actually, that's how I thought about. So I picked a couple players, and how I thought about it was the price point, because PJ Washington gets paid about $15 million a year, and Gafford gets paid a little bit under, so about like 14. I think a little bit under 14, so about the same a year. I just did average annual contract or whatever their thing is. So I think it's 14. Either way, like 14, 15. So that's how I picked my guys, which is a significant step down from Wiggins, and then a little more than Sadiq Bey. So I was going for a little more consistency. Although the first guy that I'm picking, I have three guys. The first guy I'm picking is Jakob Poeltl, which makes about $20 million a team. And I also picked the teams that were all terrible, kind of like similar to the guys that they don't want, kind of like similar to the Hornets, right? Like, they have guys like the Wizards, they have good role players, but good role players aren't going to do anything on shit teams, which, to Jakob Poeltl's point, why is he on the Toronto Raptors? It makes no sense. I have no idea why they re-signed him. I guess because they gave up a pick for him when they should have traded OG and
they're gonna get stuff back for him. That's why.
So maybe here's why, right? Maybe here's why they'll get a pick for him. So he's making 20. I guess it's a little high, but like, he is a good fit. Like, he kind of is a perfect warrior. He's not super athletic, but he can run the offense. You know, he can. He's gonna set great screens. He's not a great defender, but he knows where to be. He's a decent finisher, right? He's going to make the right passes. It's like, he's kind of like, maybe you could argue he's not worth 20 mil, but I think for the Warriors, like, he's a pretty decent fit. Can you play him next to Draymond? I don't know. That's why he's number 3 on my list, but like, I think he's a decent fit. Maybe not the number 1 option for the Warriors this offseason, but
the only thing I'll say is he's proven he can be a winning basketball player, which I don't know if he should count on the list, to be honest, because like Sadiq Bey,
fair enough.
Sadiq Bey is kind of in the PJ Washington category, where he's a good player, but in Charlotte he hasn't really shown he can be that guy. But it's more about the situation. Like, in both those cases, it's like, put them in a situation where they know their role and they thrive. Anyway, I'm just cutting at hairs.
Who you got? No, who you got?
I got a guy who used to be Sadiq Bey's teammate, Isaiah Stewart. I'm gonna go with beef stew here. Not the perfect fit for the Warriors. He's a little undersized for the 5. I mean, he does have a 7'4" wingspan, but he's 6'8", 6'9". And him and Draymond together, like, there is potential for a lengthy suspension between the two of them. Yeah, for sure. But
no one's going to foul Steph hard. I'll tell you that.
No Kennedy stuff around here. I'll tell you that.
I mean, to your point, he can really shoot it. I also think 37%, which is what he shot from 3 last year, goes above 40 when he's not on a team where he takes like first, second option shots. I mean, he's kind of a poor man's Naz Reid. That's kind of what he is to me. He's not as good as Naz offensively, but are you telling me if you put him on a team where he's playing that role, the numbers don't start looking similar to that? Like, he's really skilled for a goon. That's what's funny about him to me. Like, he's a classic, like, enforcer, gets into fights. You know, I mean, he nearly squared up LeBron, right? But
Didn't he like threaten to kill somebody this year and get suspended because he punched him in the face, like in the tunnel?
Yeah, was it Drew Eubanks on the Suns?
It was Eubanks. It was Eubanks.
Yeah, so he definitely runs hot. Like, no one's going to deny that. But also, 38.3% from three this year.
Yeah, he started shooting threes, yeah.
58% from twos. Like, you watch him. He has touch. He can shoot the ball. He always rebounds. He always plays hard. Like, epitome of the X-ray dog meme when you watch him. Maybe not like, high, it's not Draymond out there making like amazing defensive plays, but you're going to get the effort. He could space the floor a little bit. And it gets back to kind of that, the point you made about Sadiq Bey. He's been in Detroit, not a worse situation in basketball. They brought in Wiseman, who he punks regularly, and gave Wiseman the job over him. So of course he's just checking into the game, shooting whenever he wants to. There's no accountability there. He feels like a guy who, I'm not saying he's the Warriors starting center of the future, but he could be 20 minutes in the big man rotation. And right now they have a bunch of minutes to give
they
away
have
there.
Minutes everywhere.
He's the same size as Kevon Looney.
Yeah, same wingspan though too. So he plays bigger than 6'9".
Yeah, like he's,
and he's athletic. He can jump too. So he can. He really does play like Naz Reid to me, like complete with.
I don't think there's the off the dribble stuff, but that's why.
No, okay, that's a little out there, but that's why I went the poor man's Naz Reid.
Yeah, the poor man. Yeah, especially if that 3-point shooting is real. Especially if that 3-point shooting is real, which is, I imagine that's why he started shooting threes, because the energy Kenneth Faried stuff isn't going to work in the modern NBA. But if he's going to make threes, then we've got a whole different story.
He's been a pretty consistent free throw shooter, 75%. That's not bad for a big. Like, it definitely, he can hit a three. Is he gonna turn into a 40% 3-point shooter? We'll see, but it's workable, and they do need a big who can shoot. All right, that's my guy. We got more names, or should we pay bills real quick?
Okay, we'll go. We got more names on the way. But before that, the Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you by Game Time. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip off. With killer last minute meals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. This weekend, I actually bought Bill Burr tickets. I got Bill Burr tickets. He's going to be in San Jose. That's my guy. He is, I think, the funniest comedian out there right now. So he's here for 4 nights. And the cool thing about the Game Time app, it actually shows me exactly, because I've never been to a comedy show before. It shows you exactly where you're going to be in San Jose Civic Center or Civic Auditorium. Because I'm not sure like what it looks like inside. I've never been in it. Don't know like what it's gonna be. Don't know if I can see Bill Burr. Do I need to be able to even see Bill Burr? I just want to hear the jokes, right? But the good thing about the app is it literally shows you a picture. It gives you a 360-degree view. Makes it easy. Panoramic view, as they say in the app before you buy. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So use promo code LightYears for $20 off your first purchase. So you can take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LightYears for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LIGHTYEARS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, we're brought to you by Unified. Unified, whether you are a world-class athlete or podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. If you haven't heard of the EE System yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in the Bay or hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/lightyears to learn more and find a center near you. That's unifydhealing.com/lightyears. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE System. All right.
Jason, you got another one for me?
Yeah. Patrick Robinson over Chicago.
Patrick Williams.
Williams.
Hey, I had that on my list. I like that
I don't
one.
know why I said Patrick Robinson. Patrick Williams. Not a floor spacer per se, but he is just another guy who is long and rangy.
Yep.
And he came on as of late last year, and he's just a guy who I think would fall in line in the right situation. The Bulls have had just roster turnover as it pertains to injuries and everything over the last 2 years. I think they've kind of tuned the coaching staff out. You don't know who's going to be there next year. Now all of a sudden, Levine might be a salary dump. He's a guy is like we were talking about trading for a star at the top of the show. Like he's a guy who could just be a throw-in for like in like a Levine trade. You know what I mean?
Like I'm eating your salary. Just give me him too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point it's gotten to. It seems like with Levine. So if you can get a guy like that as a throw-in who can be a rotational player on a good team, I really like him. He's just, you can never have too many athletes who can kind of do a lot of things, especially defensively.
He can shoot the ball.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's a good gamble. He's young. Is next year the year he figures it out in terms of putting it all together? I don't know. Maybe. He'll be 23. I like it. I got another guy on Chicago for you. I can never pronounce his last name right, but Ayo.
By the way, Patrick Williams was hurt last season too, so that's an issue. Jason likes hurt guys. Another guy that's on a
lot of damaged goods.
Yeah, we'll see. And a foot injury, not a nothing injury. So.
No, it's not. What about who else on the Bulls? I feel like the Bulls. Look, everyone says Caruso. You're not getting Caruso for cheap. Everyone knows Caruso's a winning role player. We've already seen him do it on a sort of ring. But yeah, who else? There's other guys on the Bulls. I feel like they're kind of like a nice place to mine these guys. Ayo,
yeah, he's good.
He's young and good, right?
I loved him at Illinois. He was one of those guys where I was like, why is he getting mocked so late? And yeah, he kind of got quieted because of Kobe Williams or Kobe White.
Kobe White, yeah.
Everybody's Williams to me. Kobe White kind of because he exploded, but he's good too, bro. He can play.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, and he's 24. He'll be 25 mid-season. He's a little bigger than you think too. Not quite. He could really defend. That's the thing that stands out with him to me too. Like
I was gonna say the only thing with him, he seems smaller, but I can't imagine. I've seen I watched Patrick Williams play. I can't say I've watched Dosunmu play, but he played a lot last season because guys were hurt. I mean, that's
they kind of had the same issue as the Warriors. It's not that they're small per se. It's that they all play the same position, which maybe the Warriors don't want him because like the issue is not that Pods is super small. The issue is that Pods at the small forward is way too small.
I'd imagine the Bulls also, if they're trading Levine, which like they're probably trying to give minutes to this guy, like not hey, I'm also trying to get rid of another guy, right? Like I think that's probably what they're trying to do. But yeah,
Kobe White's the guy that they're giving the minutes to.
He's already got minutes though. Like he's already playing he's already taken all the shots that's possible. I think I'm looking for. I picked guys that I thought were better. Like this guy, I also don't like watching as much, but understanding what the Warriors need, and maybe he could be a guy that if he's going to be okay with playing like the PJ Washington role, Keldon Johnson.
Ooh, I actually had that one on my list too.
I wasn't too happy about this, but I'm looking at the contracts. I'm looking at like guys like, don't the Spurs want to trade this guy? It feels like he could shoot, he could score. Draymond likes him. I don't know if he can play defense. That's the one I don't know, but maybe he's big. Maybe you teach him. Maybe he just hasn't tried, right? Like that type of stuff. Maybe that's the one. A lot more money on the contract because he's got 4 years and like 80 mil or something. I forget, but he's got a little more on his contract than some of these other guys.
It's not that bad. It's
4 for 74. You're right, not that bad.
But I think I'm pulling it up right now.
It's kind of like
it's not 4 remaining. That was the deal he signed. It's 3 remaining. Sorry,
3 remaining.
3 remaining at an average of 18 a year. Yeah. The thing with him is he's like a 6'5" forward, so a little undersized.
Yep.
But I mean, he plays hard. I'll put it that way. We're bringing all the dogs in. That's what's going on with him. Yeah, I don't mind him at all. I got a different type of name for you.
Right.
I got someone who knows his role, but he's just on a team where it's pointless. Matisse Thybulle.
All right.
On Portland.
Yeah.
Look, I don't really know what he can do offensively. Like, he's smart. He's not going to dominate the ball. Sometimes he hits shots. Sometimes he doesn't. He'll cut. But legitimate wing defender.
Perfect warrior.
And if they end up moving Wiggins in a package to get a second star or a different type of player, they're going to need to find a couple guys who could be reliable wing defenders. Now, is he going to do everything Wiggins does? Of course not. He's not going to put up 15 to 18 points. But in theory, if you're adding offense elsewhere, you're going to need to find a couple guys who can give you what Derek Jones is giving the Dallas Mavericks, right? Like, Derek Jones is just defending, and every now and then he'll hit a few shots. So I kind of like Matisse Thybulle, and Portland's playing for 3 years down the road. What do they need a 27-year-old wing defensive specialist for?
He won't complain if he drops out of the rotation.
Right.
That's one thing. Which
Steve will love that.
I know, right?
Great locker room guy.
He's loon. Like, that's how he was in Philly. The thing, like, I used to watch him obviously all the time as a Sixer. He just never got better. Like, he was like his first 2 years in the league, he was like kind of tantalizing. Like, oh, you can see what this could become. And he is no better than he was his second year in the league to now. And, you know, I followed like his YouTube channel. You can just tell he's not one of those guys who loves basketball. He plays basketball because he's good at it and it puts food on the table. He is like a gamer, a YouTuber. And I'm like, bro, just learn how to shoot and you would be so rich.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. Just vibes guy. But
big vibes guy. I love that.
He can defend his ass off.
Yeah.
His ass off, he can defend. And like you said, like, you could get him, you could get him low, and he's one of those guys. Hey, if he's shooting well over a stretch of 6 weeks, he'll get some playing time. He'll defend all the time. But if he drops out of the rotation, you're not really going to hear a peep. He'll probably once practice is over, he'll go shoot some YouTube videos on the Embarcadero. Like,
right, you've unsold me. You sold me not on Matisse Thybulle, but maybe he'll enjoy them.
He strikes me as a guy who's going to make what they don't tell you about San Francisco. It's actually a safe city type of video. So maybe you'll be into him.
Hey, that's my guy. He's back to my guy. Although I waffle on that take, but okay. Hey, I actually no. I will let Jason. You got another name? Because I've got one that I think is the best one.
So Sam and I had a couple matches, but I'll stay with the Hawks. He might be a little he might be a little better than what we're thinking, but actually he hasn't played well. DeAndre Hunter. I think he's another guy. DeAndre Hunter, kind of in the Bay category where it's like you can see the vision if he's in the right situation. And it's funny. I wish I had this soundbite queued up. Kirk Lakeup said to me when I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, he was like, when we do like this roster analysis and we look at players available, draft picks available, like we're of the understanding, and most people in the NBA kind of think this way too. There's like between, I don't know, maybe like 15 players in the league who are bona fide all-stars. Doesn't matter what situation you put them in, they're an all-star. Then there's literally about like 60 guys in the league. It all depends on situation. In one situation, he could look like a bum. In another situation, he can make his first all-star game. There's like no in between. There's so many. So my long-winded point, my long-winded point is a lot of basketball players, the vast majority of basketball players, it's situational. And Hunter is just one of those guys. He screams. You see the skill set.
Yeah, I see that one. Yeah.
You see the skill set. Just get him in the right situation, and he could be in like a needle moving type play.
Patrick Williams and him. I mean, those are your two guys. They're kind of the same. Yeah, I see that. I see that one. It's kind of like the Jalen Johnson. They hit on him, right? The Atlanta Hawks. They're interesting. Like they hit on that one, but they didn't hit on the DeAndre Hunter one. Sometimes it's like sometimes out. But like I think the stuff with PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford is like those guys are good already though. Like those guys, like that's what makes it hard for the not to say like these are bad. It's just it's hard for the Warriors because they gave picks. They gave a pick for PJ Washington because PJ Washington was already good, not just because he was on a bad team, but because he was already good on a bad team. That's why I'm going to go with a guy that I thought was really good going into the 2020 draft, which was the only draft I've ever actually looked at tape of players because I generally don't care, but we had nothing to do during COVID and the Warriors had the number 2 overall pick. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go look at the top 10 guys. And the guy that I liked the most was Deni Avdija. It turns out kind of crazy, kind of insane, but 3 years later, Deni Avdija is kind of one of the best players in that draft. He's also a perfect Warrior. He figured out how to shoot, signed an extension for kind of cheap, like in the range of PJ Washington and Gafford, like kind of cheap.
That's why you're going to have to give up a lot of picks for him.
Exactly.
He's cheap as hell for the next 4 years.
But that's who they've got to get. They can't get a guy who might be good. They got to get a guy that is good, and you're going to have to pay because that's the point of PJ Washington. They gave a first-round pick for him. Who knows what that first round pick is going to be? But like that, I think that's where, to me, that's my opinion. Like that's the best one because he's already good. He could shoot a little bit. He could pass. He could score. He finally figured out how to score. He hates playing with Jordan Poole, at least from the stuff that I saw this season. Who wouldn't? And it's just the perfect role player, right? I don't know how good he is defensively. Maybe that's like I don't know how good, like how good he ends up being. But that's a guy I would trade a pick for. Like he's 24 years old.
Oh yeah, he used to visibly just like scoff every time Jordan Poole took a shot.
Was a joke. Like I would scoff too. Like that's it. Great, perfect. He belongs on the Warriors.
When Poole Kuzma did the alley oop off the glass down 20, I was like, I don't know what you do as a teammate there. Like, yeah, maybe that is the move. I think he's gonna be pricey to get, but he's a perfect Warrior for sure.
Maybe two first. It's a lot. Yeah.
Also, he's a legit 6'9". Like he's a legit bigger forward, could play the 3 or the 4 for the Warriors, which they could use. They have a lot of guys who are 6'4" who were pretending are 6'7". So, could use a guy who's actually above 6'7" on this team. My last one is going to be another 6'3" combo guard, though. No. I apologize. If they want to recreate the Jordan Poole Clay dynamic, minus the contentiousness potentially, and have that kind of like scorer who mixes with Clay, who's more of a pure shooter, Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I like that one.
Contract is basically half of what Jordan Poole's getting. He's getting 17, 18 a year. 2 years left. Utah, they're in a rebuild. They'll sell him off if you give a pick or a prospect for him.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Only 25. And I mean, I was skeptical of his shooting, but it's like 4 years in a row at this point of 38, 39% from 3. He can shoot the ball. He can really shoot the ball. He can score.
He cares too. Like he plays hard. He plays really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of those guys where I was like, I thought Jordan Poole's a lot better than him, but Sexton's a lot safer. There's not going to be the downs you had with someone like Jordan with him just because of the way he plays the game, and maybe it's attainable. I mean, this team needs someone who can score the ball. If they're not going to get that via a star trade, Colin Sexton's as good as anything.
Yeah, the scoring stuff I agree with, especially because I'm not a fan of the size. But then, like as you're talking through it, I'm thinking, well, they need someone that can score 20 points, right? Like he's gonna close games, and Steph's gonna miss 20 games next season. Steph played way too many games last season. He's just gonna miss 20 games next season.
When he's playing all of July this year.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he played like 55 games next season. Now, what does that mean for the Warriors? I don't know. That's where Colin Sexton comes in. Right? Like he can win games. He can actually win them games. I don't know how good he is defensively. Feels like he plays really hard. So maybe he's just decent enough defensively because of that. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. His contract was low, I think, because he was hurt, right, or something like, or what was that? Why was his contract's under $100 million total? So that's interesting.
Kind of exploded a little after he signed it. It's just one of those things where timing of the market wasn't in his favor.
Danny Ainge, though, that'll be
It's as simple as Jordan Poole hit extension time as he played a key role on a championship team, and Colin Sexton hit extension time when he looked like a combo guard on a 29-win team. You know, those guys don't get paid, even if the skill set's the same. That's just kind of how the cookie
But
crumbles.
he's already good though. I think that's kind of the comparison is like you want to. I think Danny LaRue brought it up in our show. Like,
he's a young veteran.
Like, pick a guy that's already good, where you don't like he's not gonna be a star. I don't think any of us think any of these guys are gonna be a star, but like I don't think that's what they need. Like they don't want to swing. They don't want a home run swing, right? Like they
definitely need a star. If they don't think they need a star, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, but like in this situation, like they can't.
Right.
They can't. They just want to get a guy that's good. Like they just want to hit a double or something. I don't know. But yeah, I like that one.
Jason,
I like that one a lot too. We make fun of the culture guys a lot, like from the Steve Kerr vantage point, but he's just one of those guys who I think would gel well with the seriousness that I think they need to kind of transition to.
Yeah.
Agreed. Jason, appreciate you hopping on with us. Take care.
Yeah, I got nothing but time. I'm on PTO till June 17th.
Oh wow. Okay.
What a legend.